So this is going to be a really quick video, just showcasing the Among Us follower prefab and also some tips for customization. So to get started, all you have to do is just install the package and then pick either one of these prefabs, either the one with sound or without sound, and just drag and drop it on your avatar in the hierarchy. And if we go into play mode now, you can see that the little crew member is following around. Doesn't matter where we go. And if we rotate, you can see that it's always looking where we are currently looking at. The same goes for the follower with sounds, but this one is a tiny bit different because you need a camera which can actually listen to the footsteps. So just have that somewhere around here in the scene. And then if we go back in play mode and we start moving around, you can hear the little follower walking. You can install multiple followers, just dragging them on here. And then you can unpack them all by selecting them, right click, unpack prefab, and then you can open them up. And inside of here, you can find the follow target. That's where they will be moving towards. When outside of play mode, they might not be following in one-to-one, but that's fine. It's going to fix itself. So I'm just going to put one back there, and I'm going to put one over here. And if we go into play mode now, you can see that they're going to move into position. And now they're going to start following me around. They might not necessarily be looking where you want them to look. So you can just open up the target, and inside of here you will find the look at target, and that's where they will be looking to. So you can just move that around as well. So you can have them all look in the same direction. There you go. If you go into play mode, now they will all be looking over here. They will still be following us. And that is pretty much the setup done. And now we can move on to some customization. So the first one is the most obvious one, which would be the texture. So just click on your little thingy, and in your inspector, you will find the material down here. If it's not showing, just click it again. Sometimes when you click it, it will have like a blue outline. That means you have the amateur selected. But as long as it has the orange outline, that means you have the mesh selected, and on your mesh you can find the material, and that's what holds your texture. So in the resources you can find the textures folder, and that's where you'll find all the different colors. So just take the one you want and drag it into this little square down here, and then your little follower will change color. And if you want to have multiple followers and want to have them like actually have different colors, it is a bit trickier to set up. Just get a second follower in here. Go change the target. And now what you're going to do is you're going to go to materials and select the body material. That's the one that both of them are currently using. And then you're going to press Ctrl D, duplicate it. And then in this one, you can basically just put the second texture in. So, you know, the first one I want to be blue, and now I want to have like a red one. And then I just take this material and I drag it on the follower that I want to be red. Next up would be the scaling. That one's actually pretty easy. You just have to open up the follower, world constraint, follower constraint, full detection, idle, run, and the amateur. And this is what you will be scaling. Base scale is 100 on each axis, so you can just change it around. Here you go, now you got a big Among Us. You can change it to 50. And you got like a really small one. The scale is really up to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything about the system itself. It's just a visual change. We already went over the follow target and follow speed. No, we already went over the follow target. Now we have to go over the follow speed. For this one, you have to go into the follow constraints. And in here you can find the position constraint. And one of the sources is the follow target. The base value is 0.008, and this basically determines how fast the follower will be following you. So this is the base speed. And if we go select the follower constraint, and then we increase the number to say 0.0011, and we move again, you can see that it's going to follow much faster than the red one. The red one is still lagging a bit behind. You can change this to any value you want. Just remember that testing in Unity might not reflect how it looks like in VRChat. In VRChat, you move a lot differently, especially when it comes to speed. So if you want to test, it's better to do it in-game, because even a number like 0.02 will basically make it impossible for it to ever detach from you. So it will always stay like really, really close to you. And a really small number, like 0.001, means that it's going to basically take forever to get to you. So you can see the red one just taking its sweet ass time. It will get to you eventually, it just takes a lot longer. And the last one would be some sound stuff. So if you have a follower with sound on, with the walking sound, you can change two things, which is the range and the volume. For this, you have to activate your gizmos if it isn't already. So you can actually see the bounce. And then you could just go and open this up, and down here you can see the run as SFX, the sound effect. And if you just turn it on by clicking on this little scrap here, you can see the bounce, and this is the radius. Anyone that's inside of here can hear the walking sound. And in your inspector, you have these two distance values, and these will determine the minimum distance you have to be away and the maximum distance you can be away. If you increase this to 10, then everyone within this bubble will be able to hear your follower walking. I really do not recommend doing this. I fine-tuned the base values. These should fit for most avatars. There's really no reason to change these around. But the volume might be something you want to change. So for that, you just go into the resources, into the animations, and you find the animation called SFX on. That is. And then you just go to the last keyframe. You can press this button up here, and it will skip you to the last keyframe. And this value up here will basically determine what the volume will be. The 0.5 is the base value. You can change this from anywhere between 0 to 1. Again, this is really up to you. This might require some testing in VRChat, because the way that audio sources work in VRChat is a lot different than they do in Unity. Also, a small word of advice: you can only have 3 audio sources on your avatar on at once. So if you already have like 3 audio sources, or like 2, then this one might override one of them, or this one might be overwritten by another one on your avatar. So just keep that in mind. The hard limit is 3 audio sources. And that is pretty much it for the guide. There's really not much else to talk about. Actually, I'm wrong. There's like one big thing to talk about, which is changing the model. And this is going to require a bit more knowledge about Unity. If you're not up to that, then you can end the video right here. But it is possible to change the model and the animations out for a different one. And we're going to go over that right now. First thing you would do is just delete the amateur, like so. And you also want to delete the mesh, because it no longer has an amateur. And you can also, like, I guess, delete the audio source if you have one. And then you're going to get whatever model or mesh you want to have. In my case, it would be this little unicorn, if I can actually find it. Unicorn, Just gonna pick this one. And you want to put it under run. That is really small. You want to unpack the prefab. You want to take the amateur out and put this one under run. And then you want to take the 2 meshes, or like however many meshes your model has, and you want to put it under follower constraint. And if it had a parent, you can, get rid of that, which in my case would be this. And that is pretty much it. I'm just gonna scale this up to like 5. You can see it a bit better. So that is the physical setup. So the amateur goes under run, and the meshes, they go under the follower constraint. The animations are a tiny bit trickier. Well, they're more tedious than tricky, really. So first step would be to go into the run, and if your package already came with a run animation like mine did, can be found under animations. There you go, I have run animation. You're just going to click on run in your hierarchy, and it's going to open up the run animator. And here you have one state called run, and that's where you just basically drag in your run animation. So I'm just going to do that. Boop. And if I go into play mode now and I start moving around, you can see, there you go. It's now playing the run animation for the unicorn. Obviously, this only works if your model actually came with animations. Otherwise, you would have to make them yourself. And for the idle animation, it's almost the exact same thing. So if your model came with an idle animation, just drag it in there. And then there's one more thing that we have to do, which is really important, because you can see that everything is yellow. And that's because the directory is now wrong, because it's not the direct parent of the amateur. So what you have to do is you have to just F2 to rename it, and then you type in run/. And you're going to do that for every single property of the animation. So you can just copy that, and it will jump down to the bottom. That's when you know that the directory is correct. It's now grayed out, and we're going to have to do that for like every single one. And there you go. So once you've renamed everything and everything is grayed out, you can go back into play mode, and you can see now it's playing the idle animation. And as soon as I'm going to start walking, it's going to transition to the run animation or walk animation. And if it stops again, there you go. It's going to go back to the idle. You can do this with pretty much any model, as long as it has like an idle animation and a walk or run animation. The package doesn't really support anything else besides these two, so you're really just limited to an idle and a walk animation. If you're looking for more customization for a follower, I would heavily recommend just checking out the VRLabs follower. It's a bit more complex, but you get a lot more freedom with it. That's just how it usually goes. You know, more complex things just grant more freedom, and the other way around. I hope the video helped, at least in some way. If you do end up making something really funny with this, then please, as always, tag me on Twitter, because I would love to see that. Thank you, and until next time.